Well, I guess somebody likes to speak before they, think things through. Yeah, Samuel Tech Geek left out another video, and I'm going to ignore the whole hit thing about first person shooters because A, I know they've been around in consoles for years, and yes, first person shooters started in PCs, blah blah blah, who gives a flying fuck. And no, I was not one of those people who's way in his, well, 30s saying, "Oh, first-person shooters destroyed the industry, destroyed gaming, blah, blah, blah." Whatever. As you know, Sam left another video where he was saying that this generation console has more selections, and I left the video saying that Sam's being kind of a hypocrite about what he said. And now he left out another video where he points out a bunch of first-person shooters, or well, a bunch of games that are coming out, and well, most of it doesn't really fucking matter. But anyways, near the end, he ends up saying that this console has the most selection of games that has ever come out ever before. Of course, he was praising the Xbox 360 and the PS3 that I almost looked like he was about ready to make love to him right there. And no, I don't want that in my head, but yeah. But, Console for Truth then later replied telling Sam that he doesn't really understand the whole gaming industry and the fact that we've had a pretty large genre of games well before this whole set of video games even came out. And I even said in my last video, all you have to do is just go through all the generation console of consoles and see, we have shrunk in our options of gaming consoles. Literally, we're down to just three gaming consoles this generation, and we've lost a lot, and I mean a lot of consoles, and it is mainly due to just corporations' insanely bad decisions, or like Atari forgetting how to make a good console anymore. I mean, first they created the 2600, but and yeah, the 7800 was kind of good, but you know, I'm just gonna say this: at the 2600, they've kind of forgot how to make a good console. I mean, Atari just made bad console after bad console after bad console, and then they created the Atari Jaguar, and that was just it for Atari. And then you got Sega. I mean, yeah, the Sega Genesis and Sega CD were pretty cool, but then they came out with the 32X, then the Sega Saturn, and as well as their handheld wasn't really doing well. The Nomad and the Sega CDX, and then they tried to get it all back with the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast was good, but after so many train wrecks, and the fact that the Dreamcast only had CD and was not DVD when all the other consoles were going to go DVD, was not a good idea. And yes, the GameCube went DVD as well. Oh, well, at least it wasn't like the first gen, which everything was all just Pong. Or the 3DO, which, completely crashed and, you know, started making software and is now in bankruptcy, or Apple's Pippin. And then I know their iOS is pretty successful and all, but if you check every year for a rumor of a gaming console for Apple, there's a rumor for every one of them, and pfft, Apple's never going to come up with a console. They already did it a long time ago, and it was a complete and utter disaster. But what I find funny is that he's, saying he's telling these people that A, they're too old and that they're afraid of change. Okay. Only problem is that A, he has spoken with me on Skype and other conversations, and has pretty much illustrated that the next gen ain't gonna come for a long, long, long time. Him and Shadow HD say this, and they end up cutting down anybody who has any slight of rumors. And then there's the whole Wii U, which he's consistently bashed over and over and over and over. Look, I'm going to say this just like I said in my last video, Sam. Eventually, your console is going to get old. It's going to get slow, and it's just going to painfully just you're gonna have to come to realize it just ain't gonna run anymore. I had to come to this with my NES. And then I switched to the Super NES. And I was happy with it until that whole Mortal Kombat censoring shit happened. But when I saw the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, I was pissed at Nintendo. And I mean, I was as pissed as you are right now because I hated the Nintendo 64 and I didn't like anything about it. And not only that, I didn't want to give up my old Nintendo, my Super NES at that point. I mean, Nintendo learned from its mistake of that whole censoring thing, but I didn't want to give it up after that. And I was mad at Nintendo for, going into a new system. And that was proven wrong. Mainly because I got a Sega Saturn and then I ended up feeling sorry for it ever since then. After that, I got a PlayStation 2 and it was just, yeah, don't want to talk about it. This gen's been a train wreck. I mean, the PS3 is a train wreck in itself. Yes, it's getting cheaper, but that thing was an overpriced disaster. And of course, I don't want to get about Microsoft. I have my reasons. Don't judge me. I mean, I'm just left with my Nintendo Wii, and I'm just hoping that this next gen is going to be hell of a lot more better. And I agree with Console for Truth when he says that basically it's the whole patching and the whole updating and all that other shit that we have to go through. And it is getting kind of annoying. And of course, the extra DLCs you have to pay for. And of course, you got to pay extra money for your game, and then even more for the extra crap, which is just outright fucking annoying. I mean, there has to be something a little bit more than just this clusterfuck that we have right now. And I know that the first expansion pack did come from the Nintendo 64 with that Nintendo DD system that was never released in the US for, F Zero that came out for the Nintendo 64. And the extension pack was for that Nintendo DD system, or at least that disk drive that never came out for this Nintendo 64. And I'm talking about consoles. But yeah, Sam, you've been a hypocrite. What else can I say? You're bashing people for telling them they don't like change when, in fact, you don't seem to like change neither. Eventually, that Xbox 360, Sam, will get old, and you'll have to do something like upgrade to an Xbox 720 or maybe a PS4 if Sony actually comes up with a good console. I wouldn't know, hopefully. But eventually, you're just going to have to move off from that old console at some point, and you just give off that radiative energy that says, I don't wanna. But you guys don't like change. You don't like my Xbox. You don't like my Xbox 360. But I ain't gonna ever give it up. But you don't like it because it's different. Sam, let it go. It's going to get old. God, imagine if I held on. If we were still using NESs today and running, you know, today's games on there, like, Mass Effect 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. That would be pretty fucked up. Even though I know somebody did a Skyrim little joke on an 8-bit, but it was pretty funny. You know what? I'm rambling, and Sam is being a hypocrite, so see ya.